Hello everybody, this is the first video of 2013 from the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. I did have a different idea in mind, but this video has been requested by SDJR7F88 and it's a discussion on weathering a loco. So here you are, mate, let's get on with this. Right, weathering a loco, weathering a loco can be a daunting task to some people because you don't know what to do. One key thing to remember is the reason I've got these two locos is because they're perfect examples of getting different sort of looks. Now the Black 5 here, as you can see, especially round this areas like this, the paint is built up in like under here, and I've used a cotton bud to merely wipe it away when wet to get that clean look. Whereas the Ginty, it's just absolutely filthy. There's a few spots of rust like there and things like that and on here, and especially around the smoke box door, and there's a few little streaks that was typically seen on LMS locos mostly, and a bit of black around the smoke box and streaks of black all along the top, and a bit of white and all on the cab, and just took the cab there. What you want to remember, let's just move the Ginty down here so it'll be easier for me. Right, we'll start off with this. Firstly, you want your weathering to be prototypical, which basically means you want it to look how they would have been seen in this sort of era you're modelling. Now I'm mainly modelling the 1960s, but yeah, you know, that sort of era of steam, and I've done the Ginty on how they would have typically been seen. Some would have been a bit cleaner, but mostly most sheds would have just let them get like this. So you're going to want to try and get your different colours. Now I use Rail Match Frame Dirt paint, which is what this is nearly all covered with, and what I used on the Black 5 as well, because Rail Match are a fantastic company, but they also do little pot paints, like this for example. This is Brake Dust. It's a yellowy browny colour. So they do little pots of paint like this, but they do have spray paints in their range. Aerosol cans can be quite useful. I also use art pastels, like these soft pastels. Now what you do is you get one of them, and get somewhere, and now use a scalpel. Now this blade snapped because I was letting Batman 96 do something and it snapped, but that's not a problem anyway. So use a scalpel or a blade, something like that, and just scratch it off into powder. Then use a paintbrush, you know, get it on your brush and just sort of do what you want with it. It sticks, it does stay on very, very well, especially like with the Ginty, because it was sprayed, it stuck on really well onto the paint. But if you're just using powders only on a fresh from the box loco, I do recommend spraying it with matte varnish first, the body pieces that is. It can help it stick better. If you're using the art pastels, it may be not, but if you want a more of a heavy look like this, then I recommend doing that first. Some hobby companies do make professional, well, they say professional weathering powders, but all it is basically just the exact same as that. So they are the cheaper option. Whatever you do not buy these expensive ones. They're just the same as them. You might be able to get a bit of colour definition like in the Rust, but I suppose you can mix them up or use paints like I have. Use them, they are loads better. But anyway, you can see I've used black paint on the buffer heads to eliminate a bit of grease, and prototypically, sorry for the dust, why are my locos always covered in bloody fluff? Don't matter. As you can see, she's got rust around the bottom of the smoke box door, which was prototypical, how they would have been seen as well. And the numbers and shed plate have been revealed because you would have needed to know what loco you had. I mean, you can just make out the BR emblem there, just because I went with thinners and just sort of weared the paint down a bit, just so you could see it a bit more. That was recently done, but like, you know, that doesn't matter. They needed to see the numbers on the locos, because when you come in on shed, you see what loco you've got, and if you can't find it, then you know what you're gonna do. Something's gone wrong. So you need to know what loco you've got. But so yeah, that's a sort of example with the Ginty. So that's your more heavily weathered look. I must remind you, as you can see, brake dust has been included. It's little things like this, but one thing I will say, sometimes little less is more. As is a prime example with the Black 5 here. Now this is the newest edition. Don't get confused, I did get the 7F for Christmas, but I also received a bit of money and stuff from relatives and my parents, things like that. So I went and bought a train pack with this in, blah 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 blah, here we are today. So anyway, this from a very far distance, remember, close range messes up. You want to do it from a distance when you're spraying, but I've sprayed from a distance, like sprayed the sides, then just got a cotton bud, like this one. This needs to be thrown out really, but get a cotton bud and you just basically get in there like that and just wipe it down, so it looks like somebody's giving it a clean. Now again, typically, it don't matter how clean a loco was, rust always would have been here. You would have always seen a bit of dust or rust or anything like that around the pistons or the cylinders. Now I have used powders again with this one, as I really do use them a lot because they are fantastic for weathering. I've used them on the smoke box, if I just dust it off a bit because it's covered with dust. There you go, to get that sort of matted soot look, especially on smoke box door as well. And if we look at the top of the loco, you can see I've used it all along the top and then a bit of white around here, which I must say is seems a bit much, so we'll just give that a quick wipe. And as you can see, they just wipe off easily. As you can see, look, also it is stuck in there and it looks really nice. And also some on the roof as well. You've always got to remember little bits like that. Your buffer beams. Now I should have mentioned this with the Ginty. As you can see, also I fitted, sorry, not fitted, I put some matte black on the buffers as well, buffer heads. But always remember with your buffer beam. Now I know diesels tend to have yellow ends or somehow like 08s and 03s have wasp stripes, stuff like 04s. Steam locos, it was their buffer beam. Now the importance of a red buffer beam was everything, so you could see where it was coming. You know, this was their safety. That's why it was red, bright red. So you're gonna want to, you know, because here I sprayed it, then I took a cotton bud and just sort of wiped it away, so it looks like someone's come with a rag and just done it up. Wheels. Now don't be scared of weathering your wheels. Do not be afraid of that. Aerosol cans work the best for this, or airbrushes, whatever you want to use, because it can get it on. Don't worry. Now if you're weathering Loco's wheels, when you come to run it, it will be stiff. Let her run. Let her run for a bit so she's a bit more free. Then clean the wheels on the Loco. Then keep running it, and it comes out nicely. I guarantee it. If you do that, it will come out fine. I promise you. Now, numbers again are an importance, but because this is a more clean look, you can see it a lot better than the Ginty. And also, don't forget in cab, because if you saw in the overview video I did, I mentioned that I've weathered inside there as well. That's an important feature. You know, you're gonna want to always weather. But if we just move that to the back to one side a minute, and we bring down her tender, as you can see, it's got like paint building up in the rivets and stuff, so to give that clean effect. Powder has been the art pastels. I just got powder has been used along the bottom to give that bit of a look of dust. So it's all about your sort of definition, because you don't want it like, you don't want this just being the solid clean black. You want it a bit dusty, you want it a bit weathered, a bit dirty, because you want to show that effect of time. You know, time's taking its toll and the weathering is building up again, and someone will clean it and then the whole process starts again. But you also want to, like, here's been weathered and everything, and both sides, blah 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 blah, on the back and in the water filler cap. Now, if you're weathering a tender engine, this area is quite important, because this is where rust would build up the most. It don't matter how much you put in there, you know, how the bigger amount of rust, a small amount, it doesn't matter. And also remember, you know, your techniques are your own. Well, you can use whatever technique you want, but the one I recommend is these and rail match paints because they just look fantastic. The aerosol cans are just magnificently good. As I've done in a couple of videos, I used them to weather stock, and now I know this video is strictly for locos, but I do have some brake vans that I've weathered as well. I'm not going to go get them, but I just thought I'd mention the fact that I do have some brake vans, and I'll do a discussion video if anybody likes, or even if I just feel like it. If you want to put a comment, like I say, I just do it because I can. A weathering discussion on wagons, just to hear my tips and tricks and stuff that I do. But yeah, always remember, research. Don't just go in gun-ho and expect for the best or do what you think. Do a bit of research. In BRDs, these tended to be very, very mucky, but I've gone for more of a clean look. So I've done a bit of research and found one that was pretty clean and did that. Jinties, I actually have, let's bring it down. I actually have a couple of DVDs about, documentaries about Steam. BR Days of Steam, different locos, and Jinties are one of those included, and in that they were like this, and I've done research and Jinties were really commonly seen like this. That's why I've gone and done this. Your little tools and stuff that I could recommend really is cocktail sticks that have been used a blade to sharpen it down to a fine point. This one isn't really, it's a bit clammy with super glue. A medium-sized brush, this one's a bit frayed, but I don't really use it for painting, I mainly use it for powders, so that's alright. And a really fine tipped brush, like this one. You really want a nice fine brush. As you can see, look, I've gone for little stain streaks. God, why are they always dusty? Bloody hell. Sorry, they just get dusty. Anyway, so you can see little smoke streaks. You can see here and stuff like that, and around the smoke box you got your streaks and your rust. I've used a fine brush for that, and like little bits of rust and stuff. So this Jinty's I've gone for a really heavily done look, a little loco that's seen a lot of years of service, and it just keeps going and going and going and doesn't stop really. In that sort of concept, but yeah, and also remember, Jinties were mainly used as bankers or just stock movements. You know, they did on branch lines. I suppose they would run light passenger services, but Jinties were most commonly used as bankers. So, like example, Black 5 or 7F something pulling a heavy train or a heavy passenger train, goods passenger, whatever. You'd need a banking engine, and Jinties were most commonly used. You know, you get two of them trying to get it up, or just the one of them, or this and a bigger loco. You know what I mean? Jinties were quite commonly used as bankers in their day. Now there are a couple of these little things preserved. I do happen to know two locations definitely: the Great Central Railway and the Keighley-Worth Valley Railway. I've seen the one at Keighley before. It is a lovely little loco. I do wish to go back there and visit it again, and as far as I know, they also have one of these Black 5s. I really want to go see that as well. But yeah, and the 7F, the SDJR one, that would be weathered similar to the Black 5, you know, nice and clean, stuff like that. But it's a limited edition loco, and I have no intention of doing it. I have no desire to weather it, so that one's out. You never know, in the future I might end up buying another 7F and doing that. Preferably trying to avoid the BR Black version of the one I have, because that'd be a bit weird running on the layout, but whatever, I suppose. But yes, so thank you for watching SDJR7F88. This has been a video requested by you, mate. I hope you found it useful. If anybody has any more questions or requests or anything, just get in touch, comments, messages, whatever you want to use, and I will do my best to get them done. If you've seen the Pines Express recreation, that was requested by GWR Deck a few days ago, and I got that done pretty quickly. But yeah, the first video of 2013 has been this little discussion on weathering locos. I do have a plan for a bit of a spotting, like a bit of a sort of just a thing where I just see the locos running. Just have my own little series of running videos or something. And my friend, a good friend of mine, suggested a name, Life on the Ballast. I'm not 100% sure when I'm going to do it, or if I'm even going to do it. I will do running videos, but I don't know if I should do a little running video series. I have no idea. Probably not, because I wouldn't be able to keep up with it, knowing me. But anyway, yes, I will stop rabbiting now, say goodbye. This is the first video of 2013, so thank you for watching, guys, and let's have a very, very good year. So goodbye for now.